Do you eat too fast? I often do. It's something I've struggled with since I was very young, and it's something that I work on. Some days are better than others. Thanks for being here, Coach Matt. And today I'm going to take you through a mindful eating menu. It's kind of like a menu or a buffet of sorts that, you can pick and choose a few from any of these tactics, practices in any given moment. You can try play with them. You can mishmash them together, see what works best for you. And even if one of these things sticks, it could change a lot for you. So, with that said, let's get into it. I'm going to walk you through this in terms of practices that work well before, during, and after meals. So, before a meal, one solid practice is to set an intention for the meal, for how you're going to eat that meal. Maybe say, take a moment of gratitude, right? This is a common practice. It's been around for thousands of years. That can really set the tone for what you're about to do, which is eat, but not just what you're about to do, but how you're going to do it. Okay? Be intentional about that if you do it. Really take a pause, and put some intention into it. Okay. Next thing is the no phone zone. Okay. That, is a newer thing, relatively speaking, in terms of gratitude, as in relation to gratitude and prayer and intention. But having your phone nearby is a major distraction from paying attention to what you're doing, which is eating. And that is a big thing. Don't bring it in the kitchen. Strongly recommend that. Okay. Connection and conversation. This is a little bit like an intention. As I wrote here, you can choose to focus as deeply and as possible on the other persons or people at the table, and you can listen intently to what they are saying rather than just eat. So in other words, the meal is not about the food, or it's less about the food, or equally about the people, if not more, about the people at the table and your connection to them than the food. And one quick story I'll share with you about this is once I was doing a cleanse, a fast, like a 5-day fast, and it fell on my birthday. And we went out for dinner, my family and I, for my birthday that year. And we went to a restaurant, and I knew I wasn't going to be eating anything. I think I was only allowed to have a little bit of soup at that meal, and that I brought in a thermos. But I had a great meal. That meal, a fantastic meal, because I went to that meal knowing that I wasn't going to eat, and instead choosing not to think about possibly eating or the food that others were eating, but just to really focus on connecting deeply with my family and what they were saying, and listening to them and all that at the table. So you can absolutely have a great meal with food and people if you focus largely on the people. Okay. Last one before the meal would be this idea of a hunger game. Okay. Now, this one can be really powerful. A lot of times we go to eat and then we eat fast and quickly, and we're not even really that hungry. So there are many different ways to check in with how hungry you are. One good one is to rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. It can be like a little hunger game, right? How hungry am I right now before I sit down to eat this meal? If you just ask and answer that question honestly, and then you find out that sometimes, it's a 5 and sometimes it's a 9, well, then you're going to see that maybe you don't need to eat right now. Or if it is a 9, for example, well, maybe that's just raises the awareness of you, instead of rushing to shove it in, you know that you're that hungry, so you can kind of become aware of that. Awareness is a big key here for this pre-meal stuff. Okay. Okay. With that said, let's move into the during the meal stuff. Okay. Putting the fork down after each bite, it really does work. It's hard. It's not easy. I mean, if you have never done that before, just try it for one meal or one whole day, or even more. I believe I once did a challenge for myself to do it for a whole week, and it was tough. It was tough because it's like automatic, to like keep the thing in your hand for most people. But give that one a try. Play with that. If you do, let me know how you do. You see here that I've written that, we're supposed to chew our food optimally, as much as 30 times per bite. I mean, practically no one does that, other than maybe some Buddhist monks or some people who are really like focused on this. But a lot of times we're not even chewing at all. We're barely chewing 1 or 2 times. And that's not good, so maybe count a little bit. How many times are you chewing? Just become aware of that. And then you don't have to count every time. Could become automatic if you say, okay, I'm going to get used to chewing 10 to 15 times per bite, and then it becomes more rhythmic. You can make another game out of the during the meal process as well. You can make a noticing game, right? And this is practically infinite, right? So, you can be creative with this, as I've written there. But, whether you're out in a restaurant or on vacation or even at home, there's a million things that you could notice at the table during the meal. And doing anything like that, and even potentially making a game out of it with your kids or your wife or your family, will make you more aware of how you're eating. Okay. After the meal. Now, this isn't going to stop you from eating too quickly or eating, unmindfully if you've already done it, but it may stop you if you do a good debrief from doing it again next time, or if not stop you, at least mitigate it, at least make it a little better. And this whole video and training is not about going from black to white or 0 to 60 or yes or on and off. It's not like that. It's a scale. So if you can go from eating mindfully, if you would rate yourself now as a 2 in terms of mindful eating, and then maybe you try one of these things and eventually it slides up to a 3, a 4, a 5. It's a sliding scale, so you get the point. So anyway, post-meal debrief, particularly after you've had a meal that falls into the category of unhealthy or unhelpful or unoptimal, not a suboptimal eating behavior, such as a meal in which you shoved everything in and didn't even notice yourself doing it, you could try a discomfort deal. So the next time you feel like you're about to go sit down and do that again, here's the deal. Go ahead and eat as fast as you want if you are willing to endure a small bit of discomfort. I've talked about this. This can also help with cravings, but as it applies to mindful eating, which is kind of connected to cravings as well, but as it applies to eating too quickly, if you're able to wait 5 or 10 minutes before you begin, then that's a win. Go for it. Or drink a glass of water or insert whatever buffer that you want. Okay, HALT is a powerful acronym, easy to remember. Ask yourself after the meal, were you, this is a post-meal debrief. You can do this also before the meal, but in this situation, it's post-meal. Were you really hungry, or were you perhaps angry, lonely, or tired when you did that, when you ate that way? And, if you were really hungry, okay. Maybe if you weren't, though, maybe you were just not even thinking about the food itself and what at all, really. I should probably rechange this to meditation apps, but I will give you a link for a discount to join Waking Up if you want to try it, if you want to get into meditation. Whole nother topic. I won't spend too much time talking about meditation, but within any good meditation app, Waking Up, Calm, Headspace, Insight Timer, all of them, they have stuff on mindful eating. And those, if you struggle with this, can be very, very helpful. And they really go deep, some of them, into nice segmented courses about walking you through mindful eating practices. Okay. So if you're interested in the Waking Up app coupon and you are watching this video this far, thank you. Just shoot me a DM or a comment and I will get that coupon over to you. And the last thing is behavior awareness worksheets. I have several of these. So let's just say that, you had a super eating a meal that you were really unhappy with the way you behaved at that meal, or that it was completely not mindful at all, or whatever the case may be. There's a worksheet that I have that I could send to you. It's free, and you fill it in, and then you share it back with me, and I'll give you some feedback, and this can be very eye-opening. So these are some things as we approach the 10-minute mark that you can do before, during, and after the meal. I will, if you'd like this document, just comment or send me a DM, and I'll send you the link. And lastly, what I'll mention is if you are a man who is looking to, get in better shape, drop some extra body fat, get leaner and stronger and become a strong father, check out the link in my bio to the Vital Men's Club, where not only do we have stuff on fat loss, exercise, and everything else, we have plenty of stuff on mindful eating and skills that will help you master nutrition for life and so forth. So with all of that said, Coach Matt here. Thank you for watching and enjoy the mindful eating menu.